What's up, Madridistas, and happy Friday. Keon Sabani here, just teeing up what you're about to listen to or watch if you're on YouTube. Today was a big day because Real Madrid drew Atletico Madrid in the Champions League round of 16, one of our eternal rivals. The team, in my opinion, that has given us the most difficult matchup over the last couple years consistently. A team that knows how to get under our skin, to set up shop, do a lot of shithousery, and make life much more difficult than I think Manchester City did in the previous round. So Lucas and Angelo and I ran a mailbag today for our members. We spent a bunch of time answering questions. The entire episode took about an hour, and we dedicated a chunk of this podcast to reacting to the Atletico Madrid draw. So if you want access to the full episode, including all of the questions we answered in the mailbag, go to patreon.com/managingmadrid. If you're on YouTube, you can also hit join on the memberships tab of this channel. The link will be in the show notes. You can just click on that directly to make it easier for you. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. Enjoy today's bonus clip, and just another reminder, sign up for all of the content so you don't miss anything over on patreon.com/managingmadrid or hit join on the YouTube memberships tab. Let's get to today's clip. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay, so basically, I have this hot take for you guys, and I want to know your opinion. Seeing the bracket, we obviously got the harder side. Obviously, seeing the bracket, the teams we have on our side, I think if we beat Atletico Madrid and we go through to the quarterfinals, I think we us three should get a flight to Germany and we should start getting ready our tickets. I think this is going to be probably the hardest for Madrid because seeing the bracket nets in the quarters, it would either be PSV or Arsenal, and semis, it could be PSG, it could be Liverpool, one of those. I think so. I think this is the hardest for Real Madrid. I think if they beat Atletico, which is going to be hard, it's really hard. We haven't beaten this team this season, for example. We've played twice and we haven't. And it's going to be without Bellingham in the first leg in the Bernabeu. It's going to be really hard, but this is going to be the hardest one. If we get through Atletico, I think we're in the final.
I do trust Madrid's ability to perform against bigger opponents now that they've proven to take these games against Manchester City very, very seriously. Obviously, that was Real Madrid's main weakness. Like a couple of weeks ago, really, like they were taking care of business against the smaller opposition, but they weren't doing so against the big teams, right? But I've seen very good commitment. I think something has clicked in Real Madrid's midfielders. They have realized that they have to work together. I've seen Mbappe working hard and pressing way harder than he was earlier this season. Vinicius and Rodrigo are also working harder than they were weeks ago. So I could see what Will's just said. I think that I'm not entirely pessimistic about Real Madrid's chances of going through against Atletico, and maybe keep going through and keep advancing in the next rounds for sure. Even though obviously it's always really tough to advance and make a Champions League final when the road is as tough as this year. But I like Real Madrid's chances against pretty much every single opponent, every single potential opponent. I think a potential tie against Liverpool could be really tough, but I still like Real Madrid's chances in that one.
Out of the two choices we had between these guys and Leverkusen, I said before the draw I would prefer Leverkusen, even though I didn't feel that strongly about it again. But I preferred Leverkusen because I think their style matched up better against us, and I think while these two games against City were largely comfortable, especially the second leg, I think the two Atletico ones are going to be far from that. I think it's
it'll be very different, a completely different scenario and completely different context for sure. I mean, it's not going to be close to what we saw against City. Even though I still think Atletico are the underdogs, but it's not going to be like Real Madrid will need to bring a different. I'm not saying better, a different type of game against Atletico for sure. Yeah.
It's going to be super hard, super hard. And we have the first leg without Bellingham, and the second leg is away. It's at the Metropolitano. Last time we won there, I was checking, wasn't it in 2022, 2023, when Vinny and
Ooh.
Rodrigo started dancing. That was like 3 years ago.
Right.
Uh,
Maybe so. Yeah.
it's tough. Honestly, it's the toughest because I'm seeing the bracket. Quarterfinals, we would have either Arsenal, PSV. I think we get through. In semifinals, we either get PSG, Liverpool, Club Brugge, or Aston Villa. I think it's gonna be. This is the hardest. Like this is our final, in my opinion.
Liverpool will be pretty tough too.
It
Like
will be pretty tough. Yeah, I agree. But I think isn't it in the semifinals we have the second leg at home
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
because
Why?
that's the because
That was
basically
a pure draw after that. After the
yeah.
Oh,
quarterfinals, I think it
It
was
was a
a
draw.
draw. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have the semifinals at home and the second leg. So, it's I think Madrid is I'm optimistic in that scenario. But it's gonna be really tough with Atleti. And Mbappe's wish got granted. After he said what he said, he then he must show up. He must score because you can't be like, oh, I don't want to travel. Yeah, these guys are let's play these guys. Now you have to score, bro. Now you have to show up, which he did right against City. But this
Absolutely.
is the toughest. We could be in a final, guys. We could see a Clásico final. It could happen.
Ooh. Not sure I'm ready for that in terms of my heart rate and all that, but yeah.
that's so far away from you, Will, to even think about that.
No, bro.
I can't even right now. I can't even process Arsenal in the next round.
Hey,
Like I
hey,
can't
yo,
even
hey,
get that far yet.
hey, man. Listen, give me 1 minute to cook, okay? Barcelona should be the favorite on their bracket. They could actually their pathway to the final. They could face three teams that they've already beat like this season, because they are right now facing Benfica. They beat them. They could face Dortmund in the quarterfinals. They already
Shouldn't
beat
have beat them
2-1.
though, Benfica.
Right?
Will.
Hey, that's true.
Strange things
Hey,
happen there.
strange things happen. Strange things been happening with Barca, right, for a long time. Semifinals, they could face Bayern Munich. They beat them already. Like they could go to the final facing people they already beat. They should actually, if Barcelona don't get to the final, is disappointment. They are the favorites on that bracket to get to the final. We could have a Clásico final in Munich, guys. We will be there.
Yeah, there's a chance. There's a chance.
It's not Barca that I'm actually worried about getting to the final. I actually think they have a pretty clear path, if you ask me.
Bayern would be kind of tough for them, in my
I
opinion.
don't think so. I think Bayern
don't?
are going to bend over for them. No question.
Yeah,
The way
but
Bayern
Bayern
have
is
been
kinda
this season.
ass.
Actually, I think I actually wouldn't be surprised if they have more trouble with Benfica. The one I think that stops them potentially is Inter, actually,
Yeah,
Wow.
me too.
in the semifinal. Inter, they're not at their best this season, but tactically speaking, they are difficult to beat over two legs with Simeone in
Yeah,
it.
obviously.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, and I think this is the best team Barca have had since Messi left.
Yeah.
But it's probably you factor in their anti-Real Madrid Champions League DNA, which is they just love choking. So I'm curious to know what happens there. But with us, I kind of tend to agree with Will though. If we beat Atletico, I think we got some good momentum in our sails. I mean,
We do, bro.
yeah.
To me, the most important factor will be Vinicius and Mbappe. Well, Vinicius, Mbappe, Bellingham, and Rodrigo, all of them won't be as comfortable as they were against Manchester City when they face Atletico. I mean, Simeone is going to have something ready to stop these four guys. I mean, offensively, Real Madrid are going to have way bigger issues than they had against Manchester City, for sure.
I think you're completely correct, Lucas. And Simeone is a great manager. I think one of the things we have in our favor is the calendar. Like Atletico,
Right.
in like 2 weeks, like in the 25th of February, they have Barcelona.
Nightmare, yeah.
Then the first leg for the Copa del Rey. Then they have Madrid in the Bernabeu, first leg. Then they have Madrid again, and then they have Barcelona twice in a row, league and cup. Like it's gonna be difficult for them. Like hopefully they get injuries. Actually, well, hopefully not. Okay, hopefully not. But they could get injuries like in this time. Like someone can get injured, and it's gonna be complicated. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, Argentinians are dreaming of Julian Alvarez eliminating Real Madrid again. So that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun story. Yeah.
Just to stick with Atletico, I mean, if this was like two league games against Atletico, I'd feel more pessimistic.
Hmm.
The Champions League history with
Yeah.
us,
Right.
like I understand like why you might not care about that stuff because the last
No,
time
it
we played in the
matters. It
yeah,
matters.
I believe it does matter. I
It
believe
does
it's a
matter.
real thing. These
Absolutely.
psychological barriers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have any of you seen or watched the Amazon Prime documentary from last year? It was
No.
just released like 10 days ago or something.
No.
No, I haven't.
Carvajal said, I don't, this is just paraphrasing because he obviously says it in Spanish. He says, I don't know if the Bernabeu factor is real for us or not. I do know that it's real for the opposition.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
that's crazy.
exactly
That's a
right.
great
That's a
quote.
great
That's a
quote.
great quote. That's a
Great
great
quote.
quote. Yeah.
That's an
The
amazing
opposition
quote.
definitely feels that, and this won't be the Bernabeu factor because the return leg will be played at the Metropolitano, but Real Madrid's experience, Real Madrid's resume, Real Madrid's
That's true.
factor in the Champions League will be felt in Atletico's players for sure, and even in Simeone, I believe. Like it gets under your skin when you're
Right.
facing Real Madrid. You overthink things in the Champions League because there's something in this club that matters when it comes to the Champions League. So yeah, I definitely believe it's a factor for sure. Yeah.
I do believe it as well, Lucas. But then, like, we know this team, Real Madrid, isn't invincible, right? So when, like, how, in what scenario can this team like be beaten, eliminated? Because okay, let's say we go through. Let's say we go through and we eliminate Atletico Madrid. We have Liverpool in the semifinal. We have or Paris Saint-Germain or someone. Why do we have this optimism? Because I do. I have it. Like, are these guys genuinely going to get to another final? Can this group win a second Champions League in a row? Like, seriously, are we? Because that could be crazy. That's an historic thing if that happens.
Yeah,
What if the
statistically, odds are against Real Madrid. Obviously, every single year, odds are against you because
I
it's
saw
not easy to
something
win the
that
Champions League.
the odds maker actually have us as favorites now. I don't know if I saw the right thing, but
For the title,
yeah, which
let me
is
check.
bro?
already
I
crazy to me.
know.
But
I know. In a bet site, it was just four for like a. I have it in decimal. It's like 4.2 for Real Madrid, which is pretty low to be champions of the whole thing.
Yeah, Real Madrid are
Pretty
the
low.
favorites now for Bet365. Yeah.
yeah,
That's crazy.
that's wild. So, but also kind of understandable. I'll put it this way. I always, including this season, like as of today, I don't make plans until after June. Like I have just in my head that I have to be covering Champions League final every year, including this year, and I
That's crazy,
expect
man.
it. I always expect it, and I actually wonder like how much of this conversation has changed for us after the way we beat City. And I wonder, like, if we had just scraped by City playing terrible football, if we would have been sitting here, be like, oh, I don't know, like how far we're gonna go playing like this, because 99% of this season has been awful. Let's be honest,
Especially against big teams, right?
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
against big teams. Atalanta was the only big team we actually beat.
And it's
And I
not that
wouldn't
even
even
big, but yeah.
and exactly. Um, I also I wrote about this today. I published it like right before we hit record, but I think if you look at every Ancelotti year, there's usually like a shift at some point during the season where something clicks, like he stumbles upon something. In 2022, it was the decrease, the final straw of like, okay, we cannot trust Marco Asensio. We never know where he's going to be. Is he going to be playing defense? Is his head in the clouds? Is he walking around? And so the demotion of him after the first leg against PSG, and then the rise in trust in Rodrigo and Camavinga, that was a huge turning point for us. Last season, like the Cruz Fede double pivot
Right.
discovery was like took us on a huge run midway through the season. I feel like this season it might be this thing we stumbled upon against City, which is the 4-4-2, Rodrigo on the right wing, Bellingham on the left wing. On defense, it's a 4-4-2.
Right.
Mbappe playing centrally, now proving that him and Vinny can coexist. Rodrigo being more of a stationary right winger. The demotion of Vasquez, the rise of Asensio, the return of Rudiger. Have we stumbled upon what's going to make us tick now?
Possibly. And
Until,
to me, the biggest thing is
tomorrow
Ceballos.
when Lucas Vasquez returns to the lineup.
The biggest
yes.
factor here, which you didn't mention in terms of stumbling upon something, to me is Ceballos.
And Asensio, right?
Yeah.
Well, Asensio, look, Asensio has been brilliant, but he's not making as big of an impact as Ceballos in terms of the team performance, in my opinion.
I get it.
This is a really dumb thing for me to say, but he's just, quote unquote, just a center back. Like, a center back is obviously huge, but a central midfielder can really allow your team to play in a different way. And I think Ceballos unlocked Real Madrid's offense in a way that, Real Madrid didn't have, really. They weren't clicking offensively. And Ceballos, I saw it the other day at the Bernabeu, man. Everyone is looking for Ceballos. Whenever everyone has the ball in that build-up phase, everyone is looking for Ceballos to find the ball and like allow Real Madrid out of that particular area. And he has that confidence in himself as well. You can tell he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's telling everyone what to do on the field. He's directing traffic and all that. I'm loving what I've seen from Ceballos, and I think Ancelotti stumbled upon his midfield just because Ceballos started cooking when he had the chance.
Yeah. Ancelotti, like, always eventually cooks. Listen, like the starter plate is probably bad. The first drink is gonna be bad, but he eventually cooks, and hopefully we're in for a good. We were never gonna win anything with Tchouaméni and Lucas Vasquez in the back four. Like, we were never gonna win anything with those two in the back four.
Yeah, for sure. I'm totally excited to just sit here on the podcast in June with my annual. I was wrong about Carlo.
Oh my God.
Xabi Alonso will have to wait another year.
Oh my God. Yeah, hopefully we're not sitting here in March like, we just got beat out by Atletico. Yeah, we were all right. Hopefully.
It's a win-win.
There's a chance that happens, though. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, it's closer than we're making it out to be. In my opinion.
In my opinion, it's the hardest game we're gonna have in this Champions League.
And the return leg at the Metropolitano is going to be just crazy. It's going to be just crazy. They always show up in La Liga in October with like 30 games to go.
Yeah.
Return leg of a Champions League elimination game. It's going to be just crazy, that atmosphere. So,
They know how to get under our skin. They know how to close tight spaces. They know how to be compact. They know not to do what City
very
did
dangerous
on
on set pieces.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be complicated. Like, we could be eliminated here, but if we're not, get that ticket to Munich. Like, we're going there.
So the finals in Munich.
Yeah,
is that what
Munich.
Yeah. One last point. This is the team you absolutely cannot go down a goal against. They are going to shit house like crazy. 12 men in the box for 120 minutes, 180 minutes.
Yeah, and Vinicius needs, look, I'm going to say it like a joke and whatever. Vinicius needs a serious talk before this tie. Like, they are going to try to do whatever they can to take you out of the game.